Hello, everyone, and welcome into Carnegie Mellon University. We do have more volleyball action here today on this sunny, fantastic Saturday. However, we're inside, but nonetheless, I'm sure you can see it on your screen. We do have some sunshine coming in here in the auxiliary gym, the Wiegand Gymnasium here for Carnegie Mellon, and lots of volleyball action. The CMU quad continues here today, and the first game is Carnegie Mellon playing host to Nazareth College. The Golden Flyers come into town. Carnegie Mellon 6-3 overall. Nazareth 1-6. And Carnegie Mellon had a tough defeat last night, losing to Mount Union 3-2. Let's put this into perspective. I was broadcasting that game last night with Jared Barton. By the way, I'm Rob McKinney alongside Jack Ridenauer. And Jack, last night when Jared and I were here, but a tale of two different games. In that first set, Carnegie Mellon won 25-12. It looked like they were going to take this and run with it and win in 3 sets. That was not the case. Mount Union, backs against the wall, came through in the second set, winning 28-26. They were down in the third set, ended up winning that one 25-22. In the fourth set, it went back to the Tartans' favor as they won 25-11. And then in that fifth set, Carnegie Mellon was leading 14-10 at one point, and then it was Mount Union scoring 6 unanswered to win in that fifth and final set. So that was a heartbreaking loss last night, looking to turn things around here today. But for Nazareth College, yesterday they lost 3-0 to Westminster, 25-18, 25-18, and 25-16. Westminster led in kills, aces, assists, and digs, but the only bright side for Nazareth was that they led in blocks 5-4. And Jack, after that stinger last night, Carnegie Mellon looking to right the ship here today with 2 matches. First to Nazareth, and then later tonight against Westminster.
No question, Rob. Definitely a kind of a get-right match here for Carnegie Mellon, back in action early this morning, and what better way for them to start a Saturday than with a match victory this morning.
So we will send it down to our public address announcer for starting lineups along with the national anthem. Well, you heard the starters here, but we'll run through them again. For Nazareth, Riley Loomis, Riley Bidwell, Zipporah Sparkman, Zoe Tilapokis, Leah Fusilli, Tessa Grover, and Ella Cools. And for Carnegie Mellon, Catherine Jackson, Elizabeth Schlemmer, Mindy Lai, Kai Herkenrother, Laura Rayshard, Jane Dean, and Abby Chen. And again, last night, heartbreaking loss for Carnegie Mellon. They're going to be extra motivated here today. 2 games on the slate for the Tartans. First one against Nazareth. Later tonight at 6:30. It's against Westminster, and if you're a fan of Nazareth and you're tuning in, we will have the live stream up. You can watch the games over the next, few hours here as they transpire. And if you're listening from Westminster, just checking in, again, we will have all the games here today. We just will not have announcers, only for the Carnegie Mellon games, but you can still watch it here on the Carnegie Mellon Athletic website. And also we want to encourage you that if you're a Tartan fan or a fan of football, the CMU Tartans are playing host to Waynesburg, the Yellow Jackets, for football at 1 p.m. So this game will go final. We encourage you to go over and listen to Randy Gore and Jared Barton do the game for that President's Athletic Conference football matchup. And Jack has been doing a great job with soccer here recently. The women's team ranked 2nd nationally, so make sure that you keep an eye on their schedule. The men's team also having some success this season.
Always a great start to the fall for Carnegie Mellon athletics.
Right off the serve, it was Raychard. Nazareth sends it too far. Point goes to the Tartans.
It was a good swing by Tessa Grover. She was actually recently named the Empire 8 Co-Player of the Week. Had 48 kills over a 3 home match span.
Here's Raychard again. Popped around by the Golden Flyers. Soft dump. Tartans couldn't recover in the first point for Nazareth.
Good job by Nazareth. Look, that Riley Loomis on that first touch did not get a great hand dig on it, but ultimately able to save the point.
With the serve, it's Vasily. Sent up into the air by Jackson. Big swing here, and the point for Carnegie Mellon. Catherine Jackson, just a sophomore, had an impressive freshman campaign a year ago. This year, picking up right where she left off. And this is a young team with some experienced players around them, one of those being Abby Chen, who just served. But this youth really coming full circle here this year. Here's Schlemmer. Again, speaking of that youth, amazing freshman campaign. Led the team in kills, leading the team in kills this year. She gets one right there.
Yeah, she was honored as an All-UAA honorable mention at the end of the season. Had 259 kills in her freshman campaign.
Golden Flyers looking to answer. Defended nicely by the Tartans. Lie to Dean. Able to push it over. Keeping it alive, the Golden Flyers sending it too far now. They trail 4-1.
This is very similar to yesterday for Carnegie Mellon. Came out really strong in that opening set, but have to pay attention to how this match wears on, because that's where Carnegie Mellon kind of fell apart.
Well, for the Golden Flyers, as they get a point here, you want to look for Tessa Grover, leads the team with kills, 81, 3 kills per set. And she's also second on the team in assists with 89. Ella Cools leads the team in assists with 118. And Zoe Tilapakis leads the team in digs with 100. So those are your Golden Flyers to keep an eye on as this one's sent out of play. We have Walter Hall, Kevin McKinstry, Aaron Glasser, and Sophia Duck, the referees for the first game. Great dig there by Raychard. Here's Catherine Jackson, blocked at the net. Standing tall, the 6-foot Tessa Grover.
And Grover and Bidwell both, as Bidwell, the junior, using her 5'10" frame to her advantage. So good tandem block on that near side for this Nazareth defense as they try to climb back, trailing early. But again, this Carnegie Mellon team feeling the effects of a loss last night, having a quick turnaround this morning.
Ruth Jackson comes into the contest for the Golden Flyers, and an error here against Carnegie Mellon gives the point to Nazareth, and they trail by just 1 now. Here's the serve for Nazareth. And Mindy Lai sets up Schlemmer, and she finishes it. And she is so great with that left hand. Tons of power, great accuracy. And she's a force on that far side.
Yeah, it's the second kill that she's thread through a few defenders. Just getting really, really great timing and also great approach on her attempts.
Here's the freshman for Carnegie Mellon. That's Zoe Gavros with the serve. Here's the lie to Dean, trying to find the space in the middle. And now sending it back towards the back line, getting the point, Laura Raychard.
Yeah, Raychard just taking care of it herself and putting the exclamation point at the end of the point.
I see what you did there. Very nice. And that is an ace for Gavros. They had a lot of serving errors. Yesterday did Carnegie Mellon, and as a matter of fact, 102 service errors coming into today's game. 67, now 68 aces. Trying it again, the Golden Flyers sent too far. That was off the hand of Ruth Jackson. 9-4 lead for the Tartans.
Every time Nazareth pulls a little closer, Carnegie Mellon hits the accelerator a little harder.
Here's Gavros. And that was hard for the libero, Zoe Tilapakis, the junior out of Douglaston, New York. That one's too far for Gavros, a serving error.
That's where, I didn't mean to cut you off,
No,
Rob,
go ahead.
I think that's where Carnegie Mellon sometimes hurts themselves. This is a team that's committed the most errors in the UAA so far at 161. Now that's obviously on attempts, but still a team that has to be very, very mindful of those miscues.
Jenna Madison recently checked in, getting the serve for the Golden Flyers. Finishing it off on the near side is Laura Raychard, the savvy vet. Raychard, the senior out of Puerto Rico. Had a great match yesterday, both offensively and defensively. One of the leaders on this team in digs. Certainly has a powerful arm here on the near side. And her experience certainly shows as this one misses the near line. 12-5 lead for the Tartans. Tara Jellin in her first year as head coach for Nazareth. This is a young team all in all, as we do have a service error going against Carnegie Mellon. But it's always tough in your first year to build the culture, bring in the athletes that you want. And all in all, Tara Jellin has done a pretty decent job with that. I know only the one win, but probably lots more success to come for her. Well defended by Schlemmer. Up in the air, it's Raychard to the far side. Sent back over, but we do have an issue going against Nazareth. Point is awarded to the Tartans.
Carnegie Mellon coming out to a strong start hitting. Right now at a .333 clip, and Nazareth struggling in the minus department at minus 154, so trying to get out of that hole a little bit and get a little offensive traction. But to your point, Rob, about being a first-year head coach, you always have growing pains, obviously, to go through, and in particular when you have to bring in new players that you want and then obviously have the players that you're not accustomed to.
And Ruth Jackson misses the mark. They're having a hard time keeping that ball inside the white lines. Low serve by Mindy Lai. And Mindy Lai here sets up Raychard. Sent into the air. And Nazareth couldn't get to it. Another point for the Tartans and a timeout taken here by Nazareth as they need to regroup.
Yeah, definitely a good timeout here by Coach Jellin just to try and settle her group down a little bit, get them refocused. Really, I think it's the serve receive that has hindered them a little bit. They're not able to get a whole lot on their good first touches. And it'll be interesting to see out of this timeout if Nazareth can go on a little run.
Well, a couple of the mistakes made by Nazareth, a couple delay in services, cost them some points. Carnegie Mellon with the serve here. Here's Mindy Lai, just barely over the net. Poking it over was Fusili. Here's Schlemmer winding up. Off the hand and out. Point for Carnegie Mellon.
And Schlemmer doing a nice job tooling that block and using it to her advantage. As an outside hitter, typically told to try and hit into the block and as high as you can. She did just that.
Another point for CMU.
And they're starting to run away with this one.
Trying to poke it over, but not able to. As Leah Fusili right now running away with it. Carnegie Mellon. And CMU just flexing their muscles here.
Yeah, Kai Herkenrother just doing a tremendous job, pretty much patrolling the front line right near the net. And again, it's these serves coming from Carnegie Mellon, in particular Mindy Lai, that has Nazareth all out of sorts.
Here's Lai. Herkenrother just too far. Actually, correction, that is Juliana McFarland. So a much-needed point for Nazareth. They still trail 19-7 in this first set.
I'm sure Carnegie Mellon would love to put this one away with ease and, again, try to bring back some momentum with them after their loss last night.
Here's Lai. Schlemmer again and again. Schlemmer comes through, and you can tell that game last night stung them. They're coming out hot here today.
Yeah, a lot of energy from this Tartans group, and I'm sure that fifth-year head coach Ann Bach got to her group last night and said, that's unacceptable. We cannot have a performance like that again. It's a match last night where they were up by a considerable amount in the first set, won 25-12. They also took a set later, 25-11, and still could not come out on top.
Well, that was in the fourth set. I'm not sure what happened in the second and the third, but give a lot of credit to Mount Union as here's Nazareth getting on the board again. Mount Union, their backs were up against the wall. They were trailing in almost every set, but they just fought their way back and never wavered. And it was their defense that turned into offense. And Avery Haley, their libero, was tremendous defensively, led the team in digs and saved them a few times, as we do have a service error. Ball going into the net. That will set up Abby Chen. Sent into the air in some miscommunication as the libero, Zoe Tilapakis, couldn't handle that serve from Chen. 22-8 now.
Yeah, and Tilapakis has had a hard time handling some of these serves, and you can tell Carnegie Mellon is trying to pinpoint her.
Lai, Schlemmer again and again. Schlemmer, she can't miss. She's red hot right now. 23-8. Tartans lead.
You have to give a lot of credit to Mindy Lai, just setting her those two at an all-time high.
And Stella Gann, the senior last year, is going to be greatly missed, but Mindy Lai has done a great job. As this one is pushed just too far by Jane Dean. But it's awesome to have, again, another leader on this team, picking up right where one of your better players left off. Mindy Lai leading the team in assists. Here's Chen. Setting up Shashia. Blocked at the net. High arcing over the net. And it was played around one too many times by Nazareth, as we have the point going to the Tartans. 24-9, they lead. Blocked at the net. First set goes to CMU.
Jane Dean throwing up the roof just in time, and what an emphatic first set win by Carnegie Mellon. My, oh my, 25-9. Talk about coming back with a vengeance after losing last night.
Well, that's all she wrote from that first set. And for Carnegie Mellon, looking, as you mentioned, to bounce back. Going up against a Westminster team tonight who blanked Nazareth yesterday, 3-0. But Carnegie Mellon, they benefit from having a really talented conference in women's volleyball. And they also had a really tough schedule to begin this season. We talked about it last night, but Jack, their 3 losses this year, obviously Mount Union yesterday, but they lost to number 25, Christian Newport, and then number 1, Judiata, who is by far consistently one of the better teams, if not the best team in Division III for women's volleyball. And with those tough matches, it really sets them up for success against teams that they should beat. And they did have a really impressive win early in the year against number 10 Barry, where they won 3-1. So this team, they started off with a really tough test, and certainly maybe last night you can put an asterisk behind it, as you got to give a ton of credit to Mount Union. But looking forward, this is a team that, you know, following those really tough matches against ranked opponents, they were in consideration for getting into the top 25. Certainly last night may change that a little bit, but if they continue that hot hand, an explosive start against really great foes, especially in the conference, they'll certainly still be in the conversation for top 25.
And I think you also have to just look at that strength of schedule, right? I mean, the RPI aspect of it. You mentioned Juniata, the reigning national champions of Division III from a year ago. I mean, that's going to get them prepared for not only upcoming for potentially being ranked in the top 25, but also for UAA play. I mean, let's face it, this is arguably the best from top to bottom Division III conference in all of Division III that Carnegie Mellon competes in. So they have to get themselves ready for not just a ranking, but also that really, really just gauntlet of a UAA schedule that they'll go up against. And I think that is a wise move by this program to schedule a really tough out-of-conference schedule. And let's face it, obviously you look at that loss to Juniata, a straight set loss, but again, that's a team that is coming off a season where they were 34-1 and again, national champions. So a lot of really positives for this Carnegie Mellon team to take away. And then before you know it, Rob, it kicks off with UAA play next Saturday.
Well, Carnegie Mellon leading the way in the kill department for sure. They have 10 overall to Nazareth's 3. That's Elizabeth Schlemmer with 5 kills. Mindy Lai has 8 assists. They've been doing a fantastic job. Offensively, Laura Raychard leads in the dig department with 4. Ten kills on 20 total attempts. Pretty good for Carnegie Mellon.
Not to mention CMU hitting 300 as a whole. Nazareth hitting -250. We get things rocking and rolling here in this second set. Rob McKinney, Jack Ridenauer here with you. Ella Cools back at the service line for Nazareth. Herkenrother can't quite reach on top of the shelf in the opening point, going to Nazareth. Opening set going to Carnegie Mellon, 25-9. Trying to bounce back after falling to Mount Union yesterday. Nazareth looking for their second win of the season. Raychard rips it down line, and it's a Nazareth point, chest wide, and a quick 2-0 lead for Nazareth.
And that was just out. They had 4 hits, and then that slight miss. 2 quick points for Nazareth, much needed for them.
Raychard gets swallowed up by the serve. Gets it right back, rolls it over, bodies flying everywhere. Punched over by Fusilli. Woodard. Grover has it wiped up front. Raychard runs into a block, keeps it alive, and it falls right next to Grover. She doesn't realize it, and the point goes to Carnegie Mellon. They get on the board for the first time in this second set. Great persistency by Laura Raychard, the senior from Puerto Rico. Last year, Raychard had 91 kills in her junior campaign. Sent over, and a point off the swing by Ruth Jackson, as it looked off the serve received to be potentially an ace, and somehow Nazareth able to cover up the mistake and extend the lead back to 2 at 3-1.
Yeah, Nazareth finding a little bit of momentum here in this second set to start it off.
Another good serve by Fusilli. Shashaya. Grover. Raychard soars one over, and somehow Fusilli got to it, but runs out of real estate, and the point goes to Carnegie Mellon as they pull back within 1. Abby Chen at the service line. An all UAA honorable mention a year ago for this Carnegie Mellon team. Fusilli smacks it through, and just barely long. Another hitting miscue by this Nazareth group, tied up at 3. And now Carnegie Mellon looking for their first lead of the second set.
Now, some of these misses aren't by much, Jack.
Free ball opportunity for CMU. Shashaya rifles it, and CMU takes an early 4-3 lead.
It's amazing the depth that Carnegie Mellon has. We saw McFarland in the game, Shashaya. It really doesn't matter who comes in. They pick up right where the other leaves off.
Serve from Chen. Quick set towards the middle for Ruth Jackson, and it falls through.
And we also have freshman Elizabeth Phillipson for Carnegie Mellon, seeing her first action of the day.
Jackson at the service line. New York native. Had 94 kills a year ago as she airmails the serve. Uncharacteristic miscue by Jackson as she finished last year top 5 on Nazareth's team in aces with 40. She did have 38 service errors, but still, when you have a lot of opportunities to serve, you're bound to have a few miscues. Here's Elizabeth Schlemmer. As everybody for Nazareth all out of sorts, and Woodard puts a stamp on the point, swells the lead to 3 with CMU up front 7-4. Here's Schlemmer. Huge serve. Loomis. And a point, again, Carnegie Mellon as Avani Shashaya just getting anything that she wants and more, using every bit of her 6-foot frame as the Ohio native puts Carnegie Mellon up 8-4.
Yeah, she was really good yesterday.
And the point goes to Nazareth after the double violation against Carnegie Mellon. (7-5). Carnegie Mellon clinging to a 2-point lead. They've trailed by as many as 2 in this second set as they're up 1-0. And Grover with the ace pulls her Nazareth group within 1.
And they're hanging around.
Grover trying to tie it back up at 7. And an error that, again, hands a point over to Carnegie Mellon, and now the Tartans with a chance to try and capitalize on the unforced error against Nazareth.
Yeah, when you have momentum, you can't be doing things like that, sending the ball in your own net. It kills the momentum of your team. Now with the serve, Gavros.
Goes cross court with the serve. Loomis. Raychard. Right straight down, sent over by Lai, and it goes out of play. Lai tried playing it off of the dig by Madison, but unfortunately off that first reaction, just put a little too much mustard behind it.
I don't think she really gets the opportunity to do that all that much, so she saw the opportunity and tried to get the back line, missed.
And a punishing swing up front. Elizabeth Phillips, the freshman, getting active and involved. Puts Carnegie Mellon up by 2.
And she stays into the game now, will serve. Freshman getting her chance.
Her 10th kill of her young Carnegie Mellon career. Bidwell sends that one flying out of play. And a point handed over to the Tartans, a chance for them to continue their streak, up 10-7. Here's Phillips again. Raychard rifles it back, but it kept alive. Somehow Loomis dug it up. Herkenrother. Madison with a nice dig. Fusilli. Herkenrother, and she finishes it off.
Well, you got to give a ton of credit to Riley Loomis, was it, who dug that up, or was it?
That was Riley Loomis,
yeah,
not once but twice.
Yeah, that was great defensive effort from her. Carnegie Mellon able to finish it off, though.
Schlemmer looks to get active. Panic. Herkenrother, short serve, and she gets it through. Madison had a piece of it, but that's all Nazareth can muster up. And now the largest lead of the second set for Carnegie Mellon, up 12-7. Phillips still serving, trying to go up 2-0 in the best of 5. Fusilli. Raychard rifles it through. What a swing by the senior, showing great great strength. Nazareth calls a timeout as they trail 13-7. And Rob, I think this is the point where maybe Carnegie Mellon tries to really hit on the accelerator.
Yeah, they are moving quickly like a freight train, and Nazareth is standing in the way. And I think that obviously last night sparked them a lot here. In the beginning of this one, first set was won handily. The second set now going in their favor. But as we saw last night, anything's possible.
No question. No question. That's Rob McKinney. I'm Jack Ridenauer. Thanks for spending some of your Saturday morning with us, wherever you might be tuning in from. 13-7, Carnegie Mellon up by 6. Not to mention, Rob, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention CMU looking for their first home win of the season.
Yep.
Herkenrother clubs it through. It was tipped.
Yeah, just barely right there at the line. But yeah, Jack, they've started off with a couple of different quads, tournaments, whatever, traveling around. You know they like to play here at home. And last night wasn't indicative of that, but so far starting off well today.
And Panic sends that one just a little long. And now things continuing to unravel for Nazareth after, again, they win up early 3-1. They've led by as many as 2 points in this second set. But right now, retreating on their heels as Carnegie Mellon putting the full pressure on. Phillips still serving. Fusilli, and she hits the pin. The sophomore could not fight it through. Once again, Carnegie Mellon's just presence up front at the net, in particular, Juliana McFarland, the 6'2" sophomore, just having her presence up there is enough. 16-7, CMU up, and Grover ends the streak with a sneaky point.
Yeah, looked like she was going to set, did not, pushed it ever so slightly over the net in that dead space. Heads up play there.
That's a wise move there by setter and right side hitter in Tessa Grover. Grover last year finished with 200 kills on a .218 hitting percentage. Here's Jenna Madison, the sophomore from New York. Raychard patiently waits, roofed up front. It's a tandem block. Ruth Jackson, Jillian Panic both. 16-9, Nazareth hanging around, trying to come back to in this one. Down 1-0, trying to avoid going down 2-0. Schlemmer. And she squeezes it through.
Jack, where are you from originally?
Originally, I'm from Bethesda, Maryland. Why do you ask?
I'm not sure. For some reason, I felt like you were from New York, but
why is it my voice? Is it how I sound?
No. I just see a lot of these girls and where they're from Nazareth, from New York.
Was Fusilli airmails it, asking for a tip. Does she get it? Yes, she does.
Okay, we had Jillian Panic from Waterloo, New York. I just didn't know if you ever heard of it, but
I've heard of Waterloo, New York.
You know, I would think I would remember exactly where you said you were from.
I am from Maryland. I was born in D.C., but for those that are from the DMV, you know how those lines are blurred. The DMV, as we call it, everyone else knows that as the Department of Motor Vehicles.
Yes.
Raychard. Just a calm, cool approach by her. She really does not do anything extravagant on her approach, but it's just so compact, and each and every single time she gets great elevation. Back at the service line as Tartans lead by 8, looking to go up by 2 sets in the best of 5, looking for that first home win of the 23 season. Grover. Raychard digs it out of the ground.
Great dig.
Shashaya down the line.
Nope.
And it's Nazareth's point. Barely wide. Ann Bach springs from her seat as she tries to give some instruction to her group. And again, I'm sure she's telling Avani Shashaya, hey, that's a good swing. We take that every single time. And on the counter, Fusilli can't muster up much on the service error. Hands the point back over, and again, an 8-point advantage. Abby Chen. Grover pummels one off the body of Chen. Didn't even have enough time to react.
Yeah, much better second set. It's Carnegie Mellon still leading by 7, but you can see the team coming together now for Nazareth. showing their power, getting some kills.
Phillips squeezes it over. Jackson keeps it alive, but it's finished off by the freshman. Elizabeth Phillips gets another point.
And she has impressed since she has come into the contest. Great size, great finishing ability. Welcome addition to this team.
Schlemmer at the line, trying to go up by 9 points. Smacked over by Bidwell and somehow fits it through a tight window. And Nazareth, they're showing no signs of giving in. As Jillian Panic, the senior, checks in from the aforementioned Waterloo, New York. Grover gets an ace. Chen couldn't pull it out of the hardwood, and Nazareth trying to put together a run. Six-point difference. Here's Grover. Schlemmer. Loomis tips it. Snuck back over by Lai. Bidwell takes a hack at it and is awarded the point.
Yeah,
tipped up front.
Yeah, tipped. Now a little bit of a run here for the Golden Flyers, down by just 5.
Very similar in the second set yesterday. Carnegie Mellon was up 22-17, ultimately lost it 28-26. Went down the wire. Could that happen again here? Shashaya, and she runs out of room.
Yeah, this would definitely plague Carnegie Mellon. They're going to need to take a timeout, and they will. It seemed like they just couldn't hang on to the lead, and they started falling apart. And they need to get ahead of this before they see any repeat of last night.
No question. I think this is a good timeout by head coach Ann Bach, and we actually mentioned that this Carnegie Mellon team played against Juniata earlier this season. That's the alma mater of Coach Bach, so good to have her go back to where it all got started for her in her volleyball career. But obviously, if you're Carnegie Mellon, you want to finish this one out and avoid another collapse in the second set like yesterday, up 20-16, but that could very well change pieces of gear to us broadcasters.
Yes.
We have our BSN attire up here, Rob with his polo, my quarter zip. Back to action with Grover sending in a serve. Shashaya with a ferocious swing as Loomis crashes, can't keep it up, and it's 21-16 Tartans.
A timeout proving to be advantageous for CMU, trying to end that hot streak for Nazareth.
Zoe Gavros checks in, the freshman from California. Looking to make this a 22-16 advantage. Bidwell with the short serve, but she runs into a block by Phillips. Pushed down by Panic. There's Raychard and Grover left just looking at the aftermath. (22-16), a 6-point advantage. Carnegie Mellon wanting to wrap this one up, go up 2-0. Loomis, and finds space. Deep corner, but plenty of it, and Loomis takes full advantage.
Gone through the height of the net for CMU. Squeaked it in on the far line. Can't get much better than that.
Here's Loomis. Off the slide, Phillips clubs it through. Fusilli. Raychard again threads the needle.
And she's pretty automatic on that far side, isn't she?
There's not really any window of space that deters Raychard from trying to squeeze it through. 23-17 with Phillips going long.
Yeah, right idea to let that one go. It looked like for a second Riley Loomis wanted to play it.
Chen checks back in for Carnegie Mellon, as well as Ruth Jackson for Nazareth. And then
I could tell you, Jack, that is incredibly difficult to not want to hit that.
Oh, absolutely. And I think you got to give credit to the back line in communicating and knowing, hey, let's not try and play that one as Lai tried playing that one over, but runs into the netting. 23-19, Nazareth putting a little bit of pressure on this Tartan group. Madison with the serve. Raychard has a hard time handling it. Schlemmer still gets a good swing, and the point drops in. Set point for the Tartans.
That was all set up by Mindy Lai, able to get a fist on the ball, keep it alive. Schlemmer able to finish. Now they're 1 point away from taking this second set.
Lai at the line with a chance to take her team's lead up to 2-0. Fusilli palms it through. Raychard, and that's the second set. Carnegie Mellon takes it 25-19 to go up 2-0. And now they've got a chance to get a little redemption from yesterday's loss and take a straight set win and get their first home victory of the 23 campaign.
I'm sure they're looking forward to it. That was a back and forth affair, though. Give Nazareth a lot of credit for hanging around. Some mishits, some errors from Carnegie Mellon, but they're able to finish it here in the second set. Looking, as you mentioned, straight sets here on the mind of the Tartans. Looking to get back into the win column and advance to 7-3.
Yeah, it'd be a really good kind of bounce-back victory for this Carnegie Mellon group.
Jack Ridenauer getting our game here posted to X before this one got underway.
Gotta let the people know where we are today, my friend. It's important.
What do you think about the name change to X?
If I'm being very frank, I'm going to always call it Twitter. I don't think that makes Elon Musk very happy, but
No.
I don't know. I mean, it'd be kind of like if, it's like with Facebook going to Meta. I mean, it's always going to be Facebook to me.
Yeah.
What say you, my friend?
Hey, listen, all I got to say is as long as we can have guys like yourself promoting this sport, promoting the coverage here at Carnegie Mellon, you can call it whatever you want. But us being from Pittsburgh, if you're familiar with some of the name changes going on with stadiums here in recent years, we had the ice hockey arena where the Pittsburgh Penguins play. It was called Consol Energy Center and then changed to PPG Paints Arena, which wasn't as bad as what happened to our football stadium, Heinz Field, with Heinz Ketchup having such a rich history here in the city of Pittsburgh. No longer the name, and it's Acrisure Stadium, which is an insurance company based in Detroit or Michigan area, I believe. So that was a tough pill to swallow. But what I will say is that the formal names or the previous names are always the names that we're going to call it. So talking about previous, this new gym or renovated gym, so to speak, for CMU, hoping to be done here in the next by next fall. So we could have a change of scenery as we bring you these games, especially for volleyball and basketball.
I think that goes to show you the incredible facilities here at Carnegie Mellon, that this is not the main gym. At least it's being used as that right now, but
yeah,
that goes to show you just the beauty of this campus.
That is certainly an understatement. First class treatment here at CMU. Great facilities. Can't get much better. There's Mindy Lai going to serve here for this third, and hopefully for Carnegie Mellon, final set. There's Chen. Now Raychard trying to get it through a wall of Golden Flyers. They're going to say that one is in off the hand of maybe Tessa Grover, but CMU didn't like it. Regardless, it's Nazareth with the first point.
That was awfully close to being out, but have to respect the call no matter what.
Great dig there from Chen, and a miss hit by Isabella Sierra. 2 quick points for Nazareth.
Well, this is exactly how the second set went. Nazareth going up 2-0, and Carnegie Mellon obviously figured it out.
There's Raychard, heavy shot. Dug out by Gravos towards the back line. It's Raychard again, and it's sent into the net by the Golden Flyers, the first point of this third set. goes to the Tartans here thanks to Laura Raychard. Shashaya checks into the contest. Gravos takes a break for now. Gravos, the freshman, seeing a lot of time in her first season with the Tartans. Here's a great serve by Raychard. Just died, not able to get to it, Ruth Jackson. Or correction, that was actually Riley Loomis. Loomis this time has no problem. Diving attempt there by Mindy Lai sends it underneath the net. Point goes to Nazareth. They lead 3-2.
Well, good job by Ruth Jackson up front, just trying to find a little wiggle room, and she found it.
There's Woodard. Yes. Tied again. Here comes a freshman back in for Carnegie Mellon. That's Elizabeth Phillips out of Fishers, Indiana. Lai to Phillips. The freshman secures the point for the Tartans.
And she just has great timing, and you can tell that Mindy Lai has worked a lot with Elizabeth Phillips, just especially the fact that Phillips is a freshman, Lai a senior, and they're just seemingly on such a similar page.
Here's Lai. Shashaya dug out well. Nazareth looking to get it over. They do. They survive. Woodard ends it.
Very similar to the second set. This is around the time where Carnegie Mellon really turned up the notch, cranked things up a little bit, and trying to finish this one out.
Missing was Tessa Grover, the junior out of Penfield, New York. 6-3 advantage for CMU. Here's Abby Chen into the net. Service error.
And that right there, I think, is where Carnegie Mellon can hurt themselves the most, is really just themselves committing those unforced errors.
Missed hit there. Shashaya, another point for Nazareth, 6-5. Golden Flyers trail by 1. Looking to steal a set away here. That's CMU. Lai sets up Shashaya, far side. Winding up is Loomis, blocked at the net. Loomis tries again. Dug out by Chen. Lai, Shashaya. Great volley between these two clubs. Finding the soft spot, making it count, was Sydney Spence, the sophomore. Tied at 6.
And Nazareth just not going down without a fight. It's a resilient group.
Tessa Grover with the serve. Here's Lai. It's Phillips just missing the mark. And a 1-point advantage for Nazareth. And I want to apologize. Nazareth University. I called them college earlier. I should know better because Waynesburg College transitioned to Waynesburg University. That's my alma mater. And we're very sensitive to that. So and this one was played poorly by the Golden Flyers, costing them a point, 7-7 the score.
Yeah, it looked just to be a miscommunication. Bidwell and Loomis both not quite sure whose ball that was, and those are kind of what could have been maybe points that, if you look back at the end of this set, maybe you look and say that was a big turning point.
Grover setting up Bidwell, but she's stuffed at the net. It's the freshman again, Phillips.
And Phillips is going to have a tremendous career here at Carnegie Mellon, already making a great impact in just her first season.
Schlemmer just over the net. Golden Flyers unable to play it. That one a little bit awkward as it deflected off the top of the net.
It looked like it barely pieced the tape, and then Loomis and Grover both kind of left wondering whose it was, and Carnegie Mellon benefits.
3-point run for CMU forces Nazareth to take a timeout. Again, football coming up at 1 p.m. That would be Carnegie Mellon against Waynesburg, as we mentioned. Make sure to tune into that. But if you're a fan of Nazareth or Westminster, there will be games at 1:30 p.m. and 4 p.m. Again, we'll have the coverage here on our website. Just the streaming, no announcers, but you'll get to watch the action. And then we'll be back. Not Jack, but I will be back with Jared Barton at 6:30 for CMU versus Westminster.
I think you'd rather hang out with Jared than me anyways, right?
That is so true. I'm just kidding. So not true. Too far for Elizabeth Schlemmer. Nazareth looking to claw their way back. Keep this match alive. There's Katie Spiegar with the serve. Diving dig by Grover. Great shot up in the air. Here's the lie. Setting up Shashaya. Yes! 10-8 the score. Tartans with the lead.
And Shashaya had a strong season last year with 83 kills. Almost triple what she had in 2021 at 21 kills. Really quadruple.
And we do have some moisture on the court. It's getting wiped down with a towel. That's Tessa Grover who's handling that.
This Nazareth team, not necessarily a stranger to slow starts on the campaign. Last year they dropped their first 3 matches of the year. They actually went 3-7 through their first 10 matches a year ago.
There's Grover lining up Fusilli, dug out by Raychard. There's Schlemmer, hard shot off the hand and out, so point goes to CMU. It's Schlemmer once again. And again, more moisture on the court here. In that same spot. Obviously don't want to get anybody injured.
Always appreciate when players are willing to do that. It's very easy for a player in action to say, I'm okay, but always willing to do it.
Jack, former basketball player, I'm sure you know a thing or two about moisture on the court.
I do know one too many things about it.
Over in the air, Fusilli. Now it's Raychard in the net, and no. 4 hits.
Yeah, that time it looked that Raychard might not have had the greatest approach on her swing and still tried fighting it through, but the tape unforgiving.
Still 11-9 lead for Carnegie Mellon. Mindy Lai finding that space, something that Stella Gann did so well for this Tartans team. Mindy Lai right there, sneaky play. Again, that fake set, pushing it over the net, finding the soft spot. 12-9 the lead.
Yeah, and graduating as the 7th all-time leader in career assists here at Carnegie Mellon, had 2,347.
Stella Gann. What a fantastic person and contributor to this team. Goes out of play, 13-9.
Yeah, Raychard just picking her spot and finds exactly where she wants to put it.
So next it will be Mount Union and Westminster at 1:30. 4 p.m. it'll be Nazareth against Mount Union, and then Westminster against CMU. We'll round out our day.
Always exciting to have these tri-matches, these tournaments, quad matches.
Quad match, yeah.
Quad matches. It's good for these teams to play other teams from other conferences to kind of get an idea of what talent is like, what other teams are like, not just in their own conference, but really around the region and in some cases around the country.
It's fun coming to a big city like, well, I wouldn't say call Pittsburgh a big city, but a lot of these smaller Division III schools out in small towns. And coming to a city for a quad match and staying here, as I'm sure all of these teams are. It's great camaraderie, builds that team chemistry, and have a little bit of fun here in the city. And it's a pretty special campus. A lot of rich history here at CMU. And that point is upheld, by the way, for the Tartans. They lead 15-9. Another point for Carnegie Mellon. By the way, recently checking in was Julie Wu, the freshman from Fremont, California. She will serve now. Summer up to Lai. Raychard. Kept alive by the Golden Flyers. Gavros. To Lai. Raychard again this time. No doubt about it. 17-9.
Now you're starting to see this Carnegie Mellon team hitting on the accelerator a little bit more, trying to get that separation and completely put Nazareth out of the mix on this one.
Another point, Carnegie Mellon. 18-9, double up on the lead for CMU. Here's Wu. Just over the net. That ball just dies. 10-point advantage now for the Tartans.
Yeah, just picking apart Nazareth, and good timeout by head coach Tara Jellin, because Nazareth right now, they really need to find some answer.
How special is it to have teams that are nationally ranked? You have the women's team that's number 2 in soccer and men's football. I believe there's 17 or 16. A lot of great athletic programs here at the historical CMU. Tartans avoid a collision somehow. Here's Schlemmer sending it hard. Nazareth fighting for it, getting it over, and finishing it off is Isabella Sierra.
Well, great move there by Sierra off that slide action. Nobody for Nazareth can catch up with the heat.
Wu. Sneaky off the serve. In the net by Facili. And again, it's Carnegie Mellon running away with it, 21-9 now. CMU looking to advance to 7-3, as you mentioned, pick up their first win on their home court. You see, these are all pretty important games as they're getting ready to get into the UAA matchups. Season ago, CMU 3-4 in the conference. This one is pushed out of bounds.
It was actually the second NCAA tournament appearance that this Carnegie Mellon team had under the guidance of Ann Bach.
That serve, too hard to defend. Wu has done a great job serving. Her team leads 23-9. Wu again. Great dig on the back line by Schlemmer. It's Raychard. Golden Flyers trying to get to it. They do, but can't get it back into play. 24-9. 1 point away from taking Nazareth in straight sets. We'll see if Wu can end it here. And she does. Ends it on an ace. And what a fantastic match all around for CMU. Dominating from start to finish. That second set was a little bit more competitive, but you knew that they were hungry coming into today following that pretty devastating loss last night to Mount Union.
No question. They definitely wanted to bounce back, get right, as they say, and try to have some amnesia from last night. And they did just that, and not to mention their first home victory of the 23 campaign.
Well, that's all she wrote here for this first game of 4 at Carnegie Mellon. The Carnegie Mellon Quad continues today on a beautiful Saturday. Next game will be Westminster against Mount Union. Again, we will have the live coverage here, video streamed for you. Again, no announcing. We'll be back for the CMU contest at 6:30 against Westminster.